You know, Chili will give you some good advice on marriage.
Yeah.
He has an outside perspective.
Yep.
You know, it's like he's not in the weeds of it, so he can see the whole battlefield picture of.
He's like the LPO of marriage.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
Well, one could argue that someone who's never been married doesn't need to be given advice on.
I'm gonna tell you what, Chili. I found you a woman. You got to go to Central America to get her, though.
Well, probably ain't gonna happen.
Chad showed her a picture of you.
Oh,
she
did
said
he?
she was interested.
Yep.
How old was she?
She said, "Do y'all have stick bugs down here?" And she said, "Yeah, that's one of my favorite bugs." And Chad said, "Take a look at this one."
I know somebody looks just like a stick bug.
Was she at least my age?
Yeah, she was probably about Chili's age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Oh, crud.
There's another one that ain't gonna work out though.
Well,
You know, another problem, another hurdle. Central America is tough to pull off.
nah, it's easy, man.
Yeah.
It's easy. I know right where she's at.
Easy day.
Yep. Pura vida, blanco morfo.
Pura vida. Blanco perezoso.
Y'all might be wondering how Blake got his Spanish nickname. Morpho is
I wasn't wondering.
Morpho is a butterfly.
It's a type of butterfly.
It's a type of butterfly. They call it, and you know, a butterfly morphs from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Well, every time Blake goes somewhere, he goes through a morph.
It's not every time I go somewhere.
He got, listen to him. You can hear it in his voice. He's morphing back now.
No, I'm still on the other morph. I just hadn't switched yet.
What happens when you're in the middle of a morph and another morph starts happening?
It's a reverso morpho.
The secret to Spanish, Chili, is just put an O on the end of everything.
I don't speak Spanish.
You say you don't know Spanish, but it's just you just put an O on the end of everything.
I don't speak Spanish.
There you go. You just if you would have said Spanish O, you would have said it right.
I think it's Espanol.
You should have heard Chad act like he knew what Freddie was saying the whole way up the mountain. He would just draw conclusions. Freddie was talking about some plant and how it's a very expensive plant. They put it in hotels and houses. And Chad said, he's saying they build houses out of that plant. It was a leafy plant.
I mean, you can't speak Spanish. Do you think you can now?
Oh yeah,
I figured.
Yeah,
That's going to get old.
I've got a strong command of the Spanish language.
That's going to get old, though.
There you go.
Real quicko.
Nathan was texting Chad the other day about something, and Chad just started responding to him in Spanish. He was typing the translation.
He did it to me last night.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't get Chili sucked into it. I got
okay.
Nathan sucked into it.
No, I don't play those games, though.
Look, man, we've been down in Central America, Costa Rica, for the last 6 days, I guess. And there's a lot of things that go into this story here of our adventures in Central America. We got hired by a really cool company to come down and do a speaking engagement / mission, kind of a 2-day thing. And a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been on the calendar for a long time. And we didn't know, I mean, traveling outside the U.S. right now can be a racket. And anytime you leave your country, you're putting yourself at hazard. You may have some troubles getting back. Mm-hmm. Because things change so rapidly now. And so Chili, we obviously wanted to go down there as a team, and we get everything lined up for Chili to come down. and he goes to get his passport, and he can't write. Did y'all know this about Chili? He can't write.
Yeah.
And the passport wizards could not read his handwriting, apparently. I think he did it on purpose.
Well, yeah, he did.
No, I didn't do it on purpose. Listen, I didn't want to go and submit to the COVID tyranny, all the tests. But I was going to do it if I got my passport in time. I don't travel. Listen, I don't travel internationally. I just don't do it. I ain't going to do it. I have no plans on ever doing it until this came up. And so I go to submit my passport in June. I mean, this was plenty of time. I even paid to expedite it. I paid. I didn't try to mess it up. Good grief. I spent $200 or $250 to expedite it. Okay, and September, early October comes. I don't know when it was. I get it in the mail, and I think, oh, that's my passport. It's a letter saying we can't read your handwriting or whatever it said, something like that. Well, so I went back, fixed it, took a new photo, and they basically were like, yeah, it ain't going to get there in time when I told them the date. And I said, well, all right, I'll let them know. And then comes around, whatever day y'all were leaving, Wednesday? Tuesday night, the book got there. That was unbelievable.
I think it got there a lot quicker, and
he's had it for a month. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's had it for a month.
I haven't. I really haven't. But they still ain't sent me my birth certificate back.
You need to travel internationally, Chili.
I don't.
Makes you a more well-rounded person.
I'm kind of glad Chili didn't go because I don't think he would have came back.
No. As soon as he met Octavio and went to chewing on the
sugar cane,
and eating soursop.
Just use it. Machete's the only utensil that existed.
Yep.
I would have. Yeah, I know I would have liked maybe all of it, a lot of it, but I can't get stuck over there. You know,
man. It was right up your alley, dude.
If you was gonna get stuck anywhere, that'd be the place to get stuck.
Well, who wants to attack Costa Rica? What outside threats do they have?
None. They don't have a military.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. They don't have. They apparently they have more teachers than police officers. They don't have a military, and you look at the country. I assume they're not rich in natural resources, and I guess if something crazy happened, maybe at some point Costa Rica could become a strategic location, but as of now, there's nothing strategic about it. So,
well, I mean, yeah, I was fixing to say, if they don't have a military, couldn't somebody just take over that little strip?
Well, yeah, you could if you wanted to,
but there's no reason to. You're saying
there's really no reason to. I mean, why take it over when you can just go down there and just be a part of it?
Yeah.
Well,
they don't have anything anybody wants, so. All it is an attraction.
They just got a bunch of volcanoes and beaches.
They ain't got no bananas or nothing?
Oh, yeah, they got fruit.
A lot of fruit.
Yeah, they got fruit.
You know, war's been started over bananas.
Well, you mean bananas?
Banana Republic.
And even, leading up to the trip, I even got to the point, Brooke got really sick. Like, not dangerous sick, but she was sick for like 2 weeks. I think she may have had the coronavirus.
She might have been morphine.
She might have been a morpho. She got sick like 2 weeks, and I thought, here I am. Whatever this crap is she has, I'm going to get it. And it's going to hit me while, after I done been down there for a day or two. And I'm going to be stuck down there for 2 or 3 weeks. And so I called Blake about 2 days before we were supposed to leave, and I said, man, you just want to not go down there and do this?
I knew you were thinking about it just because of what you had said about a week before. You were like, we get stuck over there.
That's Chad's raw thoughts coming out. He always got to have someone that can just listen to his raw thought dump.
Yep. And how'd you talk me out of it, Blake?
Well, when Chad gives you his raw thought dump, you got to let him think that he has the option to do either one. You say, hey, man, it's up to you. This is kind of what I think and how I feel, but in the end, whatever you think. And you kind of gently guide him down the path you'd like him to go and make him think it was his decision, and then he's happy to go.
That's funny. I didn't take that approach. He was saying something to me, and I said, well, you got to go. I said, hey, you got to go, though. You told him you'd go.
Yeah. Well, and he will go on that account, but he won't be happy about it. If you make him think it's his decision, then he's happy about going. So you can get him to do whatever you want him to do. It's just a matter of whether you want him to be happy about it or not.
That's right. So Blake talked me into going down there. So we got our health passports.
Health pass.
Awesome.
Boy, that was you put in a lot of work on that, didn't you?
Yeah,
because that was one of the stipulations, by the way. I remember now when I was seeing all this email traffic come through, like you got to get this, fill out all this paperwork, do this coronavirus thing and test and all this. I was like, all right, Blake, well, if you want to go, if you want to fill all that out, I'll go. But I ain't doing none of it. Don't depend on me for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it probably took, I don't know, at least 3 hours to fill out because I'd never done it. If I had done it before, I probably could have shaved an hour off of it, but it's still a lot of paperwork.
And just submitting to that crap. I mean, you got a health pass. What was your social credit score? Was it good? Y'all in the green?
Well, so no, we're not in the green.
Oh, okay.
We're not, because we were asked multiple times if we were fully vaccinated, boosters and all.
That'll knock you down.
Yep. And so that knocked our social credit score way down. So we were just barely able to go. And Chili's been talking about this social credit score for a little while now. And this is what this was. It's the
precursor.
Preliminary. They're fleshing it out and testing it, but it essentially becomes a QR code that you have with you on your device, and they scan it and they can see everything about. Well, I say everything. I think when it's implemented on a global scale, it's gonna give a lot more information about you. But they can see your vaccination status, your name, social security number, all those important things about you. So it was interesting to really see that in play, how that worked.
You went through the beta phase of it.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's kind of wild that it's not just theory anymore.
It's happening.
Yeah, and I don't want to test it. I'm trying to avoid it at all costs, but I wondered your experience with that because
mine was none. Blake just said, "Hey, here's your."
Well, I mean, your
QR
experience
code.
going through, having it. I mean, and I guess they scan something and everything's tied to it.
When did they scan that? When we got to Costa Rica?
No, before. Oh no, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Talked to that
at customs. Yeah,
that guy. Yeah,
it was at customs when we landed.
Yeah,
and that's what I was. Many months ago, people were talking about. Well, I'll just get a fake card and fake this, fake that, or whatever. And I mean, you ain't gonna be able to fake nothing when it's on your tied to a digital.
And you got to scan it to go in the grocery store.
Yeah, can't really fake that. Mm-hmm. That's what I was always saying from the beginning. Is these people, they want to get around it. You can get around it at first, but what's coming is pretty foolproof. I mean, it's ingenious how they've designed this to work, and I think it'll be implemented worldwide, soon. So,
yeah, I think it's well on the way. They're seeing that it works, and I wanna give you a caveat. That is what's coming if we let it come. All right, there's your caveat. So once we got once we landed and got through the little customs there, though, it was smooth sailing, dude.
Traveling was simple. Even from the precursor stuff was the hardest thing. Once you got all that done, it actually flying and going through the checkpoints I thought it was extremely easy.
Yeah. And so y'all might ask.
Oh, it's going to be convenient.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Y'all might ask, well, Chad, you don't believe in all this stuff, and why would you go and do that? Well, it's because I don't know if y'all understand this, but I'm actually I'm covert, man. When I go and do these things, my number one objective is to inject Jesus into the conversation. That's it. If it was not for that eternal objective that has been placed upon me and you, if it weren't for that, I wouldn't freaking do this, man. If all I was doing is going down there to talk about ultra running and SEAL teams, I wouldn't freaking do that, man.
Yeah.
What did Jesus say? He said, go on out there and be as wise as serpents and as harmless as doves. So, you know.
Well, that's what we talked about when you were going through your phase of should we go with all of the hassle. Is if we're going down there just to motivate people, then no, we shouldn't go. It's not worth it. But
you reminded me of my eternal objectives.
Yeah. That's it. If we're going down there for the purpose, which should always be our purpose, of to share Jesus, then it's worth anything. It doesn't matter if that's what Jesus has called you to do and this is lined up, then you should go do it. And I remember telling you after you decided, yeah, okay, we'll go, is that even through the process of it, as much as the traveling may be a pain in the butt or not, if you're not happy and smiling and showing joy through that process, then you're doing a disservice at that point, because you're not portraying the joy that you have regardless of what your circumstance is, you know? So, and you did good at it. I think the whole flight, you was happy, cutting up, laughing, smiling. And so I think that goes a long way. If you look, what did everybody look like when we were coming through customs back into Atlanta? They had this old solemn look on their face. Nobody was talking. They were dragging their feet, and they were like robots to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So this was a special operation for the kingdom.
Yeah.
Is what it was. And, we'll get to it in a little bit, but I'll go ahead and say it. You think, well, you're going to give a speaking engagement to a bunch of highly successful, intelligent, hard-working, hard-charging Americans. What are you talking about sharing the gospel with these people? Well, they already know that. What are you going down there to talk to them about that?
Or don't care or don't need it.
Or don't care or don't need it.
Or think they don't need it.
I'm going to tell you, man. God has recently given me the format of what my talks will be from now on. And this was the first time I gave that talk in that way. And we got done, and we have Q&A at the end. And I think, okay, well, these people here are going to ask me about topics revolving around mindset or leadership or SEAL teams or whatever. That's how they're going to utilize that time, right? Every single question pertained to spiritual matters. And they finally, through a series of questions, pulled the whole truth of the gospel out. And I had the realization that for some of those people in their 50s, that was the first time they had ever heard the gospel of Jesus. When I say the gospel, I mean the good news of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. That was the first time they had ever heard it.
Yeah, it was the speech was over. It was Q&A, and people were asking questions. And one guy would ask something, and Chad would give him a little bit. And another guy, Chad was saying, "Man, y'all, I'm not going to get into the weeds of this. I'll answer your question." Then another question, and he's like, "Man, y'all really wanting to get into this, ain't you?" And he'd answer the question. Finally, one guy said, Chad had talked, gave the part talking about where we can't die. And the dude was like, "What do you mean that we can't die?" And it was like all full force right there. He just laid it out as pure. There was a time where if someone walked in, they would have said, "Darren, y'all having a Saturday church session here?" I mean,
y'all having a meeting of the church down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just kept on and on and on. And finally I said, "All right, y'all want to get weeds on this?" And look here, the thing about it is, they didn't pay me to come down there to talk about those things. But it's what these people are hungry for, because they've mastered the physical plane, the mental plane, and all things, the leadership. I mean, these people are running teams of 500 to 700 people. They've mastered all that, man. But they had not wrapped their mind around the spiritual plane. Mm-hmm. And I said, "All right, well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you really what I'm talking about here. Just understand, this is the way I believe. I'm not forcing this upon you guys." Mm-hmm. But here it is. And I'm going to tell you, man, it hit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. The Holy Spirit just rained down on that joint, and it hit, son. So that was mission accomplished.
Yeah, it was. That was better than I thought it would have went.
Well, so here's my question. So if you hadn't went, then that would have never happened.
Yeah.
And my hang up on not participating in some of that is, going back to what you said earlier, I believe it 100%. You said this will happen, all of these developments and the social credit score that we were talking about. And you said, unless we do something about it. Well, what is doing something about it? Because in my head, the first part of that is to not even go, avoid ever playing with it at all. But going back to what you just said, if you hadn't, that wouldn't have happened.
Yep.
Well, it's prioritizing earthly goals over eternal goals.
So this is what I've been thinking about for weeks now in my head. How much should we try to stop what is inevitably going to happen on the earth while you're trying to stop what's going to end up happening on earth, you're missing out on those opportunities. I mean, I don't know the balance. I don't know the balance. I mean, I don't know it.
Well, I think there is no balance. If it's sharing the gospel, that should always take priority over your desire to not be a sheep. Like, if you feel like we have this opportunity, but we don't want to give in to this because it's like these people might not ever hear the gospel if I don't go, but if I don't go, then I'm not giving in to these things that have been put in place. To me, it's never a question that you should not go share the gospel with someone because you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
No, Blake and I had an hour-long conversation about this last night.
Yeah.
And don't worry, Chili, it's all going to be in my book.
Oh, can't wait.
Was you making notes over there last night?
Oh yeah.
I thought you
But
were.
I mean, is that not
So
the way to ask that?
That's a beautiful question, and it's the same question that comes into my mind regularly, right? And I think there is an answer to that question. That's a whole podcast. That's a whole. It's all going to be in my book, guys.
Pre-orders coming soon.
Just pre-order this book. But that's a significant issue that we need to solve in our own minds.
Yeah.
And I think you could even put it in a way of, is your only objective to evangelize or share the gospel? Is that your only objective as a Christian? All right? If that is your only objective, then yeah, you would submit to whatever you needed to submit to in order to accomplish that single objective. Well, that only works for so long because it'll eventually get to a point where you will not be able to do that, or you will be killed for it or imprisoned for it, right? So there's a balance there. We'll talk through that later, man.
But I think it's prioritization of the objectives. Of course, that's not our only objective. It is our main objective here, but not our only. So when those two rub up against each other, just like any other priority in your life, work versus family, when those rub up against each other, what takes priority? Like, what do you prioritize more? The mission of spreading and sharing the gospel, or the mission of preserving America? And those two can get close. They can walk the line to where it could be either way. But when they rub up against each other, you got to boil it down to what actually is this? What's my intent and mission behind doing this? And which one have I chose to prioritize? Mm-hmm. I think we could all agree that's not our only mission in life. I mean, you got to see that. I think a lot of it could fall under that one mission if you were to like do the subtext, but then you got to prioritize it. But again, yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother podcast.
I think you could make an argument that's the only. I mean, I'm not saying that's. I think you could make an argument that's the only mission.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and then you could say the other things you do are because of that.
Yeah, that's rough there.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, trust me.
But anyways,
I'm glad we're both thinking along these same lines. Are you going to contribute to this book, by the way?
You notice how he asked like that? I mean, well, no.
Well,
I mean, am I just going to come? I'm going to.
No, what
You
I'm
haven't asked me to, for one.
What I'm going to do, what my plans are for this thing is I'm going to write all this out. And when I'm done with my piece, when I say, okay, this is everything I want here, I'm depending on the Holy Spirit to let me know when this thing is done from my part, right? And then I'm going to pass it off to Chili. And Chili's going to be able to go in and put in some of his thoughts, whether it's just here and there, right? And then I'm going to pass it off to Blake, and he can just put in his thoughts. And by the way, when this thing releases, it's going to be version 1. And this thing will be updated. This book will be updated, I believe, every 3 to 5 years or so. So it's going to be a revolving text. All right? That's my vision for it.
5 years from now, it probably won't even be updated. You just had to start over. Be a whole new set of problems.
Yeah, I mean, that's my vision for it. But anyways, we get up in this daggone country here. It's a pretty spectacular place. It's like, it reminds me of the way you would think about America as far as culture, liberty, individual responsibility, work ethic, all those things. It's like America in the 50s is what it reminded me of. and we're staying on a little place on the beach there. The next day we wake up, we go to the river, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Leslie comes.
We hook up with Leslie and Ursel.
Yep.
And super good guys, man. We drive out. They really show us what Costa Rica is like, not in just the tourist towns. And so we're stopping in these little roadside. In Costa Rica, the communities have established the rural communities have established their own little economies. One guy grows fruit. One guy sells rostillos. Once somebody makes bread, another guy down the road's got some cows. It's legitimate economy. And
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you can just pull off these dirt roads and knock on the person's door. And it's like they're the person on that little road there that sells the bread.
Yeah.
And people just know it. And almost every house has got a little sign out in front of it saying, this is this is the service I offer.
Yeah.
Everybody's out on the front porch making something, making some sort of woodwork bench or something that they can contribute, right?
They don't even need money.
No, they don't. They don't need money. And so we got to see that with Leslie and Ursel. We would have never walked up to this freaking random shack almost on the side of a gravel road in Central America and knocked on the door. We would have expected to get ran out of there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, man, just walk up there and knock on their door.
Yeah.
And then people come out smiling and want to help you. And they don't look at you like you're a dumb American for not knowing Spanish. They want to be patient with you and teach you and share their culture with you. Mm-hmm. That was really, really cool, man. And we get to this, we stop in this little spot. We got to meet Octavio.
Yep.
Octavio lived in a little shed, and all he had was a machete and a dog and a little clothesline to dry his clothes. He lived off of bananas and sour sop and
sugar cane, coconuts,
whatever he could get his hands on.
Yep.
He did have him a little set of deer antlers nailed up on the door of his shed there.
Yeah. That was black market.
Oh, man, that Joker was cool. Joker was like 73 or 74 years old. And this Joker looked strong, dude. Yeah. Just wiry strong.
Yeah, he looked shredded in that video.
I'm telling you, man. Oh, we go do this river. It was awesome. Got to meet some more guys, Daniel and David, the river guides, on the rafts there. Rafted down class 3-4 rapids. That was a good day.
Yeah.
Day 2. Oh, on the way home, by the way, we stopped at this.
Oh, yeah, Maximo.
We go down this. Oh, yeah. Well, we bought some Rostillos from Maximo. Rosquillas from Maximo on the side of the road.
He's already turning it American.
Yeah.
Rostitos. Sounds like a Dorito.
Then we go to this lunch spot, and that's where your future wife is at.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So
good.
The women there carry themselves different than American women. They stand up straight. They're well put together. They're like they take care. They take genuine pride in their natural beauty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They stand up straight. They speak clearly. They look you in your eye. They're friendly. It's just a totally different. Okay? That's where your future wife's at. All right?
What's her name? I know you didn't know it. Don't make it
I think
up.
it was Estevania.
It may have been.
I think her dad's name they were saying was Esteban.
You'll meet her. You'll meet her later, Chili. And this restaurant was at the base of a big volcano. And it's down this dirt road. You would never know there's a restaurant there. If we wouldn't have been with Leslie, we would have never freaking found this place.
No, by American standards, you would never think there would be something there. The more we spent time in Costa Rica, it seemed legitimate that the restaurant should have been there.
Yeah.
According to their culture.
Yeah.
But according to American culture, it's like, nobody going to find that place.
We're just literally riding down this dirt road, and we pull into this place at the base of this volcano, and it's like a oasis.
Yeah.
Like hot springs everywhere and beautiful landscaping and little huts and really, really just top quality food and service. Unbelievable, man. And so we're sitting here eating lunch, and I'm looking at this dang volcano, and this joker's big. And I'm like, man, Leslie, how would you go about getting up the top of that thing? And Leslie said, oh, I know somebody.
Like he says, anytime you want to do anything in Costa Rica, he knows everybody.
Yeah. And because here's another big difference between there and here. In Costa Rica, there's no national scenic trails or they're way, way behind in terms of adventure than we are here. Like nobody maintains trails or there's like in national parks or national forest.
Well, what's the government regulation like? I mean, is there public land?
Yeah. Oh, there's tons of public land, but there's nobody has went in and done any trails or anything. It's just raw land.
Everyone cares about the water out there. That's the big thing. Is like diving, fishing, and as far as land, I don't think it's a big attraction.
So I was like, Leslie, and Leslie's like, I know a guy. I was like, well, hit him up, man. We want to go to the top of that thing. He's like, I know a guy that can show you how to get up there. He calls him up, Freddie. And he said, yeah, man, Freddie will take you up there. We said, all right. And we thought, well, whatever. He said, we'll run by Freddie's house. You can drop a pin on his house where you can get back out here the next day. We're about 2 hours from where we were staying. And so the next morning, we get up at about 5:30, hop in the car, drive to Freddie's house.
Well, hold on. Remember them leafcutter ants that we seen at the restaurant?
Oh, yeah.
Chad, these leafcutter ants they blaze a trail. They climb this tree and clip these leaves off, and they cut them a trail. Looks like a game trail across the grass.
They literally wear a trail in the freaking dirt.
Yeah.
Just real small.
Walked it so much. It's probably about 2-3 inches wide.
Yeah. And they carry their leaves into their ant mound, chew it up, and spit it out, and it ferments and turns into a fungus. And they eat it, and that's what they live off of. And they pipe out the methane pipes so it doesn't build up. And then there's these little ants at the entrance of the hole. Their nest is in the ground, and they're inspector ants, quality control. And they come out and they climb on the leaf and make sure that it's a good leaf. And if it ain't, it makes the ant drop it and go get another one. If it's a good leaf, they let them go into their house. So that was pretty cool to see. And we was kind of following their trail up there, and where they've got their hot water pipe coming in for the hot springs.
What are you talking about? The hot water pipe? It's an ant.
No, there was a hot water pipe next to the trail.
Oh.
And as we're following the trail up, I said, Chad, there's a hole in that pipe right there, and it'll shoot water out every so often. And he gets real close to it, looking at it, thinking I'm full of crap, and it shoots out and sprays him right in the face and likes to knock him on his tail. He slips down the hill. So that was funny, but the leafcutter ants were cool.
Huh. Yeah, that was an interesting system they had. And yeah, all that water, that volcano, man, them things make some weird stuff happen.
Yeah.
Volcanoes?
Stuff's bubbling up, and hot water and pressure and steam and just everywhere.
Yeah.
Some weird stuff going on with them volcanoes, man.
But anyways, yeah, we get up the next morning and go to Freddie's.
We show up to this guy's house, and this guy's just got a little house on the side of this back road, and he's a cattle farmer. And we get out, and here stands our our guy that's going to take us to the top of this volcano. And his name's Otro Freddy. So there were two Freddys.
Otro means other.
What the one Freddy was the owner of the cattle farm, and this guy that was supposed to take us to the top of this volcano was like a farmhand.
Dose Freddy.
Yeah, Dose Freddy. And Dose Freddy, he was not in very good shape. He had got out of shape over about the last week or so. He said he hadn't been doing much PT for the last 5 or 6 days, and he had gotten out of shape.
He'd been working on his house.
Yeah,
That happens fast.
Yeah, he got out of shape real fast.
Yeah.
I seen Freddy. I think we would have got along.
So
Freddy.
I'm looking at Freddy, and this joker, here he stands. He's probably about 210 pounds or so, a little overweight. He's got an old pair of rubber boots on, like what you'd buy from Walmart. And he's got a sheathed machete.
Nice sheath.
And he's got his sheath made, and it's got all these tassels hanging off of it and all this decorative stuff on it. And this sun gun's, he's got it on a string. It's hanging down past his knee. He's got him a pocket knife, a cell phone holder, and he's got him on a little drawstring denim pack. And in that pack, he had a old 2-liter Coke bottle full of water. He had 2 packs of Cheetos and a pack of crackers. and an old rain jacket.
Yeah.
He had an old rain jacket like you'd buy from the dollar store.
Dude, he literally, that's what I would take.
That's how everybody was out there.
Yeah. And so...
The Cheetos, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And so we are like, all right, let's do this, man. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, well, obviously this ain't going to be that hard. If this guy's about to go up here in this type of gear, there ain't going to be much to this. And not to mention only him, but now there's 2 dogs with us. These 2 dogs, one of them's a puppy.
Yeah. And Freddie thought we were ill prepared. He kind of laughed at us going up like,
Y'all had like hyperlight packs on.
well, but he thought we was just some fancy rich Americans that come out there and didn't know what we were doing.
Oh, I
And
got you.
He laughed at I had shorts on. He said, hace frio. Like it's going to be real cold up there. And he said, talk about my tennis shoes. He said, no good. You slip. And I said, I'll be fine, Freddie. So.
Yeah, he didn't think we were going to make it.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
He wasn't just dealing with no random North Georgia yahoos.
Oh, yeah. Little did he know.
Yeah.
So we start headed up through this man's cow pasture. We're going through little gaps and fences and up through the pasture going, approaching the base of the volcano. And we're walking at a pretty good clip. It's early in the morning. We're fresh. And old Freddie, he starts to lag behind a little. And I thought, well, if it ain't no worse than this, and he can just maintain that pace, we'll get up and down here pretty quick. It was only like 8 kilometers. I thought we'll get up and down here pretty quick. Well, he kept lagging behind, and we kept going on up, and we get out of the cow pasture into this kind of little scrub brush, reminding me of mountain laurels, about the height of mountain laurels, right? And we move through that little area there. The dogs are with us going. Then we start coming into some big timber. So the environment changes again, and it's real dark in there, big timber. One of them dogs runs off the trail, trees a monkey. Freddie finally catches up with us and starts warning us to watch for our steps because of serpentines.
I think he just wanted us to slow down.
Well, it could have been.
What kind of snakes they got down there?
They've got a Ferdinand, or it's one of the most poisonous snakes in the world.
Vipers.
They've got pit vipers. They've got bushmasters. They've got rattlesnakes.
We saw a viper.
Got to kill some of them.
Yeah. And as we move into this big timber, the trail starts to get a little steeper. But now it's not super steep yet, but it's getting steeper significantly. And old Freddie, he starts to lag. Whoa. Old Freddie, he starts to lag further and further behind. And finally, as we're moving up through this timber, Freddie starts complaining about a splinter in his finger here. A spina.
Spina.
And Freddie's got an old splinter right here on the inside of his thumb. And about every 5 minutes, he'll stop and start complaining about this splinter.
He'll show it to you. He'll say, "A spina." He said, "I need an ultra spina to get it out." He needs another.
Yeah, take it out. What was he doing?
He was trying to get us to stop. We didn't realize it at that. But every time he's
just tired.
He'd get out of breath. He would act like that splinter was bothering him. So then we'd stop and he'd go off and look on a bush for another splinter to pick that splinter out of. And I said, "Freddie, why don't you just use your pocket knife to get that splinter out?" And he took his pocket knife out and he handed it to me, and he wanted me to cut that splinter out of his thumb with a pocket knife. I don't know if he thought I was a surgeon or what. We said, "No, man, I ain't doing that." Well, Freddie didn't want to get that splinter out. He just wanted a break.
Yeah.
Right? And we keep on moving up. We move by these trees. There's some timber in there called strangler trees, I think.
Strangler ficus.
And these jokers, man, are massive. And what it is, it's some sort of parasite. And what it'll do is it'll grow up around a tree that's there and strangle the tree that it's growing up around. But man, that thing was probably as big around as this studio right here.
Yeah.
Did you see the picture of it, Chili?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he said the tree wasn't necessarily that big. It was all that stuff that had...
Yeah, it becomes the tree, so to speak. It takes the form of it and...
But man, that was some wild stuff to see. Well, we kind of move on up, and all of a sudden, this trail gets rough.
Well, we move out into the field, remember?
Yeah, that's where it started getting rough at.
Yep.
We come out into an open area, and we're in the cloud now. We walk out. There's a massive canyon. We walk out to the edge of the canyon, see that. Then we dip back into the woods, and this joker is getting steep, son. Yeah. I'm talking about, I think there for a while, it was well over 1,000 feet of climb per kilometer.
Yeah. Not
mile. Just legit, relentless, straight up trail.
Well, I mean, a lot of the area you would walk up and it would be ground in front of your face. Like you had to look up to see the trail. If you just look straight forward, you just saw dirt and ground.
Yep. And it starts raining. It starts getting colder, and the environment then changes again. And you're getting into like more rainforest type stuff, big ferns and a lot of mud and
cloud forest.
Well, we weren't in the cloud forest yet. We kind of transitioned into some type of rainforest where there was still some big timber, but it was just more dense, right? And about this time, old Freddie, he starts catching cramps. And I'm going to tell you, son, that about put him down.
Oh, yeah.
He's catching cramps about every 10 minutes. By the way, we've been feeding him our food the whole time.
Yeah.
If you could have offered that joker anything and he would have took it and ate it.
He already run through his food?
No, he hadn't touched his pack of crackers yet.
Why not?
He brought the Cheetos for us.
Yeah.
All he had for himself was a pack of crackers.
Why hadn't he ate that?
I think he was saving that after he made the summit.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he was saving that for the summit.
What kind of crackers were? That's a stupid question, but were they just like a regular pack?
Yeah, just like a little pack like this with like 4 Oreo-sized crackers in it.
Yeah.
That's what he had. And so this joker starts catching cramps, and we're waiting on him. Finally, he pulls out a little old bag from his, a little plastic bag from his denim backpack, and it's got salt in it.
I mean, I'm telling you, Freddie knows what he's doing, dude. Y'all make all matter of fun of me, and then you get out there with a real pro like Freddie and see how it's done.
And he wanted to make sure we knew that was salt.
And not cocaine.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
no, it don't look like cocaine. My salt looks pink. Was his not pink?
No, he
No,
had
it
that
wasn't
iodized
fake.
Okay.
table salt.
So he gets him a little pinch of salt, and just like you do, Chili,
Yeah.
puts it on his tongue, and you know, it helped him a little, but it didn't solve his problems.
No.
What did he carry it in? It was a bag?
It was like a little it wasn't even a Ziploc. It was just a plastic bag, and he had the salt in it, and he just would twist the bag up.
It's like you would package cocaine in a corner bag.
Well, I need a new vessel. I'm wondering if I need to go to that.
Yep. Yep. And this joker this volcano just keeps coming. I'm like, when is this thing gonna level out? I mean, it just kept coming, dude. And finally, we get up close to the top, and then we're in the cloud forest. And the cloud forest is exactly what it sounds like it is. These volcanoes, they call them trade winds that blow across that portion of the Central America. And these volcanoes have clouds hung up on the top of them, like 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever clear out or not, but it's super wet, just as dense as you can imagine. You're not walking on the ground. You're walking on networks of roots.
Mm-hmm.
No big timber.
Like Hawaii.
I imagine it would be similar to that. Yeah.
If you ain't walking through knee-deep mud.
Yep. You're just walking on top of roots.
I've seen that Hurt 100 looks like that.
Yeah.
What you're describing. I saw the videos he was showing. How hard is that to move on?
It's extremely hard to move across.
Yeah.
I mean, it's risky too. I mean, you've got sheer drops on both sides. Luckily, it's thick. It's not like, out west. If you did take a fall, I think you could grab something and stop yourself. But you're not going to move fast across it. I'm going to say maybe a half a click an hour or something. I mean, it's super slow. And Freddie, we get up in that stuff finally, and it levels off a little, and he can move good through that stuff. Yeah. He starts picking up the pace, and we reach the first summit, and there's a sign up there. And that was the first time I realized that farmer had cut all of that trail himself. Because on the sign, it said, "Thanks to Freddie, the farmer." He had cut all that trail.
Yeah.
On it, just on his own notion. I was like, holy smokes, man. This took some dang work. And we hit the first summit. Then we move out to the second summit. It's cold, rainy, nasty, windy. We hit the second summit. We come back down to the intersection, and there's a third summit, but it's lower than the primary summit, which was the second summit. And we were like, Freddie was like, y'all want to, by this time, Freddie's freezing cold. He's starting to jackhammer. He had ate his crackers. And he's like this. He said, y'all want to go out to that third summit? And we were like, no, man.
It made him learn English.
Yeah. We were like, no, man, that one's
You've
good.
been so cold you can speak English.
That's the primary summit. And that joker said,
Puta vida.
Puta vida, son.
That means let's rock and roll.
And so we started our descent down through there, and that was just that was an epic hike, man.
Well, in that section from the first to second summit, that was tough. You remember having to use the ropes?
Oh yeah,
Like they had ropes tied off and on trees that you had to use to like lower yourself down. That was pretty tough.
Chili, you would have loved it, dude.
Yeah, well, I know I would have liked that.
I really missed it. I really wish you could have been there the whole time.
Well, I hate it. I'm sorry, but it sounds like y'all had a ball. I would have liked to meet Freddie if nothing else.
Yeah. Oh, that was the highlight of the trip was the people for sure.
Well,
people
yeah.
like Freddie and Leslie and Ursel and Miguel.
And we could have ate salt together.
Speaking of balls, I mean, you didn't have the balls to come. I just figured I'd go ahead and throw that out there.
Well, we've already discussed why I didn't come.
If you would have came,
so why say that? Why move to disparage me? Because that's
figured
not.
I would have thrown that in there.
That's not even
Puta Vida, is it?
No, that's not. That's got to be pure something. What does that mean?
That's pure boo-boo.
I don't. Yeah, we've already discussed why I didn't come. It ain't got nothing to do with not having the
huevos,
the cojones.
So we come on down off of there. That was a full day, man.
Yeah.
But definitely one of the highlights of the trip.
At one point, Freddie stops and he says in Spanish, "Is it going to be all right if this takes a little longer than what I told y'all in the beginning?" Yeah, I'll be fine, Freddie. We ain't got nowhere to be.
So we got back down to the base of the mountain finally, and we gave the main Freddie that built the trail. We gave him $100, and that joker, he said, "Maximo gracias."
Well, no, you gave him $100 American dollars?
Yeah.
What is that to them?
One American dollar is 6,500 colones.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of freaking money.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, like, potentially, depending on the conversion rate, if you give someone down there $1, felt like nothing, you may just gave them a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty substantial difference.
That's about a month worth of wages for a farm hand or a maid or like a labor job.
Yeah, so that's crazy. You can just go down there and not spend a ton, much money for you, and it makes a huge difference for them. That's kind of wild, just the conversion.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was a good adventure.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Third day was speaking engagement, right?
Yep.
We told y'all about that.
Fourth day was the rafting trip.
Fourth day was the rafting trip with the river with the group that we spoke to.
Yep.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, man, that river, when you first see it, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
That's a serious river.
Yeah, it was no joke. And so it was cool I got to get up and give a little pep talk before we went down and got in the boats. And I think a lot of those, a lot of them were really nervous about doing this, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But they all rogered up for the challenge and went down and did it. We got through, no injuries. The crew was awesome. And then, fifth day.
Yeah, it was when you were mucho turismo.
Oh, yeah, fifth day we went to that other volcano.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, we saw a lot of cool stuff at that one. I thought. It was a tourist attraction, but no more time than we had. That was the best thing we could have done to see just some cool things. The blue water and the bubbling in the creek and the waterfall and all that stuff.
What was that volcano called?
Tenorio.
What was the one we climbed called?
Mirabayas.
Well, when you say it was a tourist spot, this place, I mean, was there a lot of people there?
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of tourist people. They made you wear your mask for 100 feet to go buy your ticket that was outside, and it was just mucho turismo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I mean, it was a cool place.
It was something. It was something to see. Yeah. Now, if you would have walked up on that 30 years ago, before all that stuff was in place, and it was actually in the wilderness without a
kiosk. Or
Exactly. Yeah. Then it would have been much more beautiful. But we had to get back to take our coronavirus test.
Yeah.
So
then we go eat that evening, and there's these Costa Rican boys. They're walking around with pool noodles. Sections of pool noodles and
I
these
gotta hit the head
bracelets on them, and they come up and they start trying to sell them to us. We're sitting outside eating at a restaurant, right on the edge of the road, and they came up, and Chad starts talking to them, and they say, "Sorry, don't speak a good English." And Chad said, "Listen, let me tell y'all something. I don't speak Spanish, and if you're gonna try to sell me something, you got to learn some English, son.
What the heck?
And so they just keep standing there. I mean, it seems like they stood there for like 3 or 4 minutes and they were just looking at each other. Me and Chad would just start laughing, and I'd look and point at Chad, put it all on him. And so anyways, finally Chad's just like, no. And they leave. And about 3 minutes later, he comes back with his English-speaking cousin, who does speak pretty good English.
There you go.
And we buy a bracelet from him.
$3.
Yeah, they wanted 4. At first, he said you can get 1 for $1. Well, this is what we thought he said. You get 1 for $1, or you can get 3 of them for $10. And me and Chad were like, "What? That's no deal."
I'll take 3 for 3. How about that?
We were like, "That ain't no deal." And finally, we figured out he didn't speak the best English, but finally we figured out it was 1 for $4 or 3 for $10.
Oh,
And
okay,
I
well, that's
said,
good. Yeah.
I said, "Well, now I'll give you $3 for 1 of them." So we bought 1 from him and bought some
Man,
good
y'all are
bread.
a bunch of jerks.
Well, we're teaching them boys some lessons in business. We're teaching them
I
some
told
lessons.
that joker, I said, if you're going to come down here and peddle these bracelets to a bunch of Americans, you're going to have to learn some English, son.
Listen, the only business they know is every time they see an American tourist, they go rake them over the coals for them bracelets, and y'all don't play along, so they should have just moved on. That's what they should have learned.
Hey.
When they get some buttholes like y'all, just move to the next one.
They
Sad sap chili would be over there, and they'd come fleece me for every dollar I had.
that was pretty funny. The next day we went and ate at that same restaurant, and we were leaving, and this guy comes up to us, and well, first we get out, and the guy walks over and he says, "I'm the security," and we were like, "Oh, all right." And he was wanting us to give him some money because he was saying, "I'm gonna watch your car for you. I'll be security."
By the way, this is just in a little village, man.
Yeah, little village, roosters running around out in the road, main street of the town.
Do you have a gun with him?
No,
No.
Well, then what security's he running?
People around there toted around empty holsters, and they put their radio in their empty pistol holster. But so he says that, and we're like, "All right, appreciate it, man." And we go sit down and eat. Then we're leaving, and this other guy comes up to us, and he says, "Hey, y'all driving the white car?" And we said, "No, not that one. We're over here." And he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see." And what did he offer? He offered
Women,
weed, or cocaine.
women, weed, or cocaine. He had him a fanny pack on. He had it all, son.
Did he really?
And Chad went full weirdo on him. He said, "Son, we got to..." He said, "You get out of here with all that bunch of crap." And that guy was like, "Son, what is this joker doing?" And he just turned around and walked off. They was all calling him Bin Laden down there because his beard.
They were calling you Bin Laden?
Them people, very few of them can grow a beard. The beard freaked them out, dude.
You got nicknamed Bin Laden.
Yeah.
Dang.
How about that crap?
That's what Freddie called him.
Yeah.
You should have looked Freddie in the eye and said, "I killed Bin Laden."
Yeah, man.
Well, dang, offering cocaine and women.
Yeah, that was the only time we really had that
Yeah.
happen. Chad shut him down pretty quick.
Yeah, if you going to come at me with some crazy stuff, you better be legit crazy, because I will outdo your craziness.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll come right back at you. That threw him off there.
It was a cool culture, though, because nobody, in America, you go down to downtown Rome here, and you're going to see 5 people standing out there with a sign asking for money. Help needed, down on whatever it is. And out there, you see a lot of people asking for money, but they've all got something that they're offering you in exchange for your money. It's
not panhandling for
no.
Yeah.
I mean, the roads are lined with people, but they all got orange juice. They've got some fruit they've grown, or them bracelets they made, or what. They've all got something to where they said, "Yeah, we do need some money, but we've worked and made this right here." And if
Well, and listen,
it's just
they know that they can make money when Americans come in.
Yeah.
Easy, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm saying. That's smart. I mean, people like me would give them a lot of money.
Yeah. Well,
Just-
but you could have. I'm sure they would also get a lot of money if they just stood out there and asked for it
Yeah.
from Americans.
Yeah.
But the point is that they're offering some kind of service or product to you, no matter how small it is. You know, like we bought some bread from a lady, the dang best bread I think I've ever ate. And it was like
Yeah, I ate 3 loaves of it on the airplane.
Yeah. It was like $2 a bundle. And I was just like, well, I got 6 here and just keep the change.
Yeah.
And she was like, son,
Yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
sure? But the people that are, I don't know, to me it was just cool to see that. I didn't really notice it till I saw a lady I thought was doing it at a red light, but she was selling coffee mugs. And I thought, look at that lady asking for money. And then the car went by and she had her a handful of coffee mugs.
You got to
she was selling.
appreciate the effort, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate the hustle. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
trying.
I'm more likely to just give that person money and say, I don't want your product, but here's some money for being out here and trying.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd buy a place down there, man. I'd spend some, heck, I would go as far as to say I could probably just live down there.
Yeah. Well, have you told Chili what we're gonna do? We're gonna buy a place down there, and you're gonna get your citizenship, and we're gonna move headquarters down there under your name, and you're gonna live down there and keep everything up, and then we're gonna come down there and with the families a few months out of the year.
I wish y'all wouldn't screw around like that because I'd do it.
You wouldn't leave Tennessee, man.
Yes, I would.
Dude, you would love it, man.
I've been searching far and wide on. I don't know where. Here's the deal. Everyone talks about how dire America's getting. Well, where are you gonna go? You gonna go to Australia? You gonna go to, France? I mean, where the crap you gonna go? There ain't hardly anywhere somewhere like that's about as good as you could
That's
do.
a place you could go.
Listen,
Yep.
there are no rules of the road. There's no tag renewal. You get a tag and you put it on your car, and
That's what I do want to find out is what the government regulation is like there. I mean, that you're not aware of, or what? I mean, they gotta be something.
the taxes are like slim to nothing according to what they told us. It was like
Chili, they
1%.
don't even have mailboxes.
Yeah, no mailboxes. You drive your 4-wheeler, you side by side.
If it's got wheels, you can go down the road in it.
Yeah.
It's all about the individual's responsibility for themselves.
Yeah.
And you ain't going to mess around because somebody's going to freaking run you over.
Right, that's how it's
Like-
but there got to be something to it.
Well, and those people,
We
I'll
didn't
tell
see
you,
it.
they're innovative. If there's a problem, they just solve it. Miguel was telling us this story. It's his wife from New York, he said.
Yeah.
They got married and she moved down there, and he had been traveling out on the boat for like 18 days at a time, and he'd come home for 2, and she had been wanting to get a P.O. box. And he said that she would go in there and they'd say, yeah, we got P.O. boxes. And she'd say, well, let me get one. And they'd say, well, we don't have the keys. They'll be in about a week. And he said this went on for like 3 months. And they'd tell her that every time. And so he comes back and she says, I got to have a P.O. box. So he said he goes in there and they tell him, yeah, we got some. And he said, all right, I'll get one. And they said, but the keys won't be in for a week. And he said, well, how about I bring my toolbox in here with my pliers and I pull your lock out and I put my own lock in there and I give you a key and change the lock out for you. And they said, oh, all right, yeah, that'll be fine. And he said he gets it done in one day. But that just goes to show the innovation. And they're like, well, okay, I've got this problem.
Yeah.
How about I just come change the lock myself? Now, of course, you couldn't do that crap in America. There's probably some law against it. But down there, the people have a problem, and it's like they don't get aggravated with it. It's just a part of life, and they do what they got to do to fix it, and they just move on. It's no frustration. They figure out a way around whatever it is that they've got, and it was just cool to see that.
I'd do that in a heartbeat. I just got to learn Spanish first.
It wouldn't be hard to learn. If you lived down there for a couple months, you'd have it. You'd be good to go.
I don't understand learning another language, really. I mean, how well would you know it? You wouldn't understand the grammar, the structure of how things. I mean,
Well, if someone taught you, you would.
you just know you just know the right amount of vocabulary words and then be able to be good. But I'd want to know it.
Well, you would eventually.
Well,
Especially when we get you hooked up with that girl down there. I'm sure she could teach you a lot.
I'm telling you, man, you'd be in hog heaven down there. I mean, it is like exactly Blake said it. It's you have an issue, you take it upon yourself to figure it out. Nobody's freaking coming to help you or tell you what to do or tell you what you can't do.
Yep.
A lot of people fit.
Everybody. Well, now there were some mucho gorditos.
That's them American ones that Americanized.
There weren't many though. You got out in them rural communities like Maximo and Octavio and these men that are in their 60s, 70s, 80s. They still are passionate. They're fit. They work every day.
Well, they have to be. They get out and they work in their own little local economy. If you're going to get out and do something every day, you can't be fat. You just not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I bet nobody hardly ever runs or does whatever. It's just because their lifestyle is work.
Maximo had him a pile of wood stacked up you couldn't fit in this studio right here. That he had split all that wood so he can go in there and make his rostillos every day and sell them. Yeah. And I asked Leslie, I said, is there much crime through here? He said, there's no crime. None.
Yep.
All these people depend on each other. They're not going to hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was legit, man. It was legit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then we flew back to good old America.
Yep.
Did you have to reassimilate again? Was that hard?
Land of the sheep.
Well, heck, what is it? It's Wednesday. You were back
last night.
Yeah. So, is this been hard? Like coming off off of different things.
I am really personally struggling with a lot of things in terms of we've talked about this before. What is my attachment now to America? And we get back to Atlanta, and you're going through customs there. And so here's the thing. I'm back in my country. This is my freaking country. Where if you tell me to freaking do something that is unjust, I can tell you to screw off. I didn't have that option in Costa Rica. That wasn't my country. Right? But we show up back into America, and you know how the whole mask thing is in the airports. Well, I'm like, I'm back in my country. Screw these people. Let me tell all y'all listening. You do not have to wear a mask in the airport. You don't have to do it.
We tested that a long time ago.
Literally, they can't do anything. There are a few choke points that you'll meet. And that's one, the main one is getting on the airplane.
Yeah.
They won't let you on the airplane unless you put a mask on your face and walk down the little terminal thing into the airplane. Once that sun gets off the ground and once you get to where you're going, they've got no control over you. But every single person, there were probably 1,000 people in that
little
line to get through customs. Every single one of them had their mask on.
Yeah.
We were the only ones. Went all the way through customs, all the way through the daggone thing, and to our truck. You don't have to do this. And yeah, the hardest shift for me was going from that culture and lifestyle that we've been describing here of like individual responsibility and individual liberty, those aspects that are represented in this country, in these rural areas of Costa Rica, and then coming back to that and like just getting thrust into it and being like, wow, these people are just cattle, man. That's all they are. They're just cattle. That was a hard freaking shift for me, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and trust me, I'm freaking fired up about it.
I've been fired up for a long time. I mean,
to me, the biggest thing, like over there, it just seemed like people just were who they were. A lot of times, I feel like Americans, you kind of got to look at. There's just a lot of show being put on, and you got to wonder: is this person really who they say they are, or are they really genuine in the things they're doing, or are they doing it for another motive? And over there, being from America, I had questioned that with a few people we met, and they just kept proving, well, they just are who they are. And then you see that with every other person that you met over there, and
They were legit.
yeah, I mean, there was no show to be put on or to be had. They just were who they were. If they were turds, then they just showed they were turds. And if they were good people, they showed they were good people. And that and the, I don't know if you want to call it friendliness or just
Puta vida, son.
respect that they have. Like, you'd go in a restaurant and they would greet everyone. People sitting at the table would greet the people that come in and out of the restaurant. They didn't work there. They didn't know the people.
Didn't want nothing from them.
No, they would come in and they'd just say, Buenos dias. But if you were to do that in America, you'd think, if someone greeted me when I came in a restaurant in America, I would say, that person must work here. They're being paid to greet me to come in the restaurant. And there, the people eating at the restaurant would greet the people coming in and out. If they're bringing their daily portion of eggs in there to the breakfast joint, or fruit or chicken or whatever it is, they would just greet them. It was just like Puta vida.
I mean, you kind of do that, right? I mean, if you're in a restaurant, you're maybe not if you're sitting down at the table, but if someone walks in or out and you're standing up, I acknowledge people.
Yeah, but these people were sitting down eating, and they would stop eating and turn and say, Buenos dias, amigo.
That's a little
and
weird.
they'd go back to eating.
Well, that's almost
Yeah.
weird then.
It was
Oh,
initially,
weird to you, yeah.
but then it's like, that's just how much these people care about respecting each other.
Yeah, and coming back here, man, I think the only reason, one of the only remaining reasons I haven't completely detached from my, I guess, attachment to what this place has become, goes back to the conversation that we had earlier, about what it took, the blood that was shed and the sacrifice it took to earn that. I mean, I can't completely turn my back on that.
It's almost slap in the face
Yeah,
to the brotherhood.
I just can't. That is what holds me. That is what maintains my connection and concern with what's happening here.
Yeah, too much has been given for what we have to just leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it would be super easy to just pack up everything, buy a place down there for $100,000 and just be a part of that.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways,
We can move Chili down there. It sounds like he's interested, so we've been looking at real estate down there. We can get a nice place pretty easy. We'll get a little more acres and let you learn how to farm them cattle. Give you something to do day
you
to
talk
day.
about being self-sufficient down there because of that climate and the amount of stuff
You
that you
can
can
be,
grow.
and-
You can truly be self-sufficient.
And well, they're a lot closer than we are. I can guarantee you.
We were talking about that when this government system and stock market and all this stuff, when it collapses, they ain't going to give a crap.
They won't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, unless there's some sort of, I mean, I don't know what the government in place is like there and what they're prepared to do or could do or what, I don't know nothing about it. But just the way that their lifestyle is, if we're left unimpeded by, some outside force, literally America and Russia and China could literally just burn down and they'd just be sitting over there. He'd be shucking his
Nothing would
sugar
change.
cane. He wouldn't have a freaking clue. I mean,
Nothing would change.
Well, I asked Miguel, I said, what is like the news like down here, Doug?
I probably don't watch the news.
Well, they've got it, and he said, well...
like Octavio, he probably don't sit there and watch the news.
But even the news they have, he said, for example, when, I don't remember what he was saying that what happened. Some big terrorist attack had happened, and he said, when the news came on, the first thing that was on the news was, bring your pet down to the Catholic Church, and they will... whatever that is they do on their head or whatever, they'll do that to your pet too. He said that was the first thing on the news. And
Local news.
He said as it trickled down, they finally said, "Oh, and there's a terrorist attack going on up here." But
where at? In Costa Rica?
No.
In
This
this
was
place.
world news.
Yeah, okay.
This was what came over on there.
Okay.
On
Well,
their
yeah. I mean that's ancillary to them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like they're happy about it, but that don't affect their day to day.
No.
The pet baptism does.
Yeah.
But you talk. I mean, you could grow coconuts, wanabana, bananas.
Avocados.
Well, it
Sugar
sounds like all you
cane.
need to live is that the one fruit
Soursop. Wanabana.
That's like the perfect race fuel, man. A little bit of protein, a little bit of carbs, low glycemic index. Tasted amazing.
Oh, it was good.
Man. Yeah, you could be truly self-sufficient down there. And taxes, you can't even these people don't even have a freaking mailbox, man.
Yeah.
How you going to get anything from this cat?
They send around a tax collector.
Well, Leslie was saying that, there's a lot of unknown people in there because the Nicaraguans will come down and work. And so he said, if you legitimately, participate in their tax system, even then you have to get to a certain level before you're even taxed. Like you can make so much money before they even
fool with you.
Yeah, fool with you. And then at that point, you get taxed like 1% of your...
Well, and I'm sitting there thinking, too, like, how are they going to tax you if it's all just within the community exchanging? I mean, they can't.
No.
There's no way to even track it, and they're not even concerned with it.
No, they're concerned with taxing the Americans that live down there
Yep.
and the tourist industry. I guarantee it.
Yep.
They don't give a crap about the...
So, like, the Americans that live down there, is there American-looking homes with...
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
with-
there are areas like the peninsula, for example, that American investors have come in and bought large pieces of property, and they've developed it to intentionally sell the real estate to Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's the only part of that culture that's kind of been marred.
But has also been good for the tourist industry to bring income to the locals that participate in that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and just for your essay, Chili, we got our 2021 tax projections. And I worked for 3 of 7 project in 2021 to pay my taxes.
So
100% of the salary that because we've moved the business structure into this thing where now we have to pay each other, 100% of what I have been paid
that's the tax burden.
will be used to pay my taxes.
Within the 3... Good gosh.
Can you believe that? Yeah. I'm not joking.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that.
How do you...
It's like,
How does that even make sense?
How do we let it happen? I don't know.
I just figured you'd like...
Y'all get ready to start hearing some tax things because it's coming into the year and our tax...
I figured you'd like to hear that, Chili.
You're going to have to file yours too, Chili.
I don't...
That 1099.
We'll see.
Oh, man.
Well, there you go, listeners. That's just a little recap of our adventures in South America.
That's a stark contrast between here and...
We'll be back.
Yep.
We'll be back. We got to go get Chili his bride.
Yeah, that's true.
Does she speak English?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she works in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Telling you, man.
She works in that Oasis with the hot springs and
She's the one
bungalows
for
for
you,
rent.
Chili.
Well, you said you showed her a picture of me with the stick bug, so sure that made her
She's
interested.
all over it.
She said, "Me gusta stick bug."
Well, that's all I got for y'all today. We'll be back.
All right.
We'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next week.
Well, we're already back to it, as far as listeners know.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going PT next week.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be back PTing.
I ain't done that in a long time.
You got to get you a deer, too.
Yeah, December.
Yep.
Yep. And we got that flight out to Arizona. You'll enjoy that.
Are you coming to that?
Oh, I'll come, but I ain't flying.
That's going to be, dude, I really want you to be there because there's going to be a lot of,
I want to come.
I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there to really meet some people.
Oh, I don't care about meeting the people. I want to go to support you and hear what you have to say.
I'm bringing you there as my networking guy.
No.
Yeah.
No, I just want to be there.
Yeah, we've already got you a seat on the plane.
Y'all gonna be seeing
you
Chili
haven't.
on.
No, you haven't.
Y'all gonna be seeing Chili on mainstream media here.
What do you think?
soon.
Oh, no, you're not.
That's middle December. It's end of November. You think we hadn't got the flight yet?
Yeah, I don't think you've got the flight yet, and I ain't flying.
Well, we got you a flight.
Yeah.
Guess you're screwed.
I'll start my run across America now.
You won't make it
No, buddy, you're coming.
What do you mean I won't make it?
in time.
Who you think I am?
You got 1 week to go to Arizona.
Who you think I am?
Maybe hitchhiking.
I got a month.
No, it's middle of December.
What?
Yep.
What days? If you got a flight scheduled, when's it leaving?
We can't release that on the podcast, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't worry, it's all taken care of.
All right.
Enough said.
We got to talk. No, we got to talk.